Absolutely, and I am hearing a coherent message, and that is that there are I just was with leadership, and they had just gotten off the phone with President Trump, and he said to them there was about 70 countries that have reached out to the administration and want to negotiate trade deals. So what it looks like it's shaping up, and I'm not going to panic at all, and I don't think anybody should, because things like this, you know, days and weeks, they should be measured in days and weeks. They should be measured in months and years. And I do think that we're going to see trade deals, really a cascade of them, that will strengthen this country, will put us in a better position, and I think the economy will show more strength.
Well, Congressman, as we consider that kind of time horizon, what are you telling your constituents about what they should be bracing for in the days and weeks ahead in the more short term compared to what you just described as the months and years ahead? Because this is consistently how we see it framed by this administration. Short-term pain for longer-term gain.
I think really what you're asking, Kayleigh, is how short-term is short-term? Is it going to be a few weeks?
Exactly.
Is it going to be a few months, et cetera? Don't have the crystal ball, but what I suspect will happen is that once we see these major countries making deals, like Vietnam, that would be that's a sizable deal. Obviously, the EU would be seismic, and then the markets will see, okay, we're seeing some steady stability, we're seeing some achievement, and you're going to see a slow isolation of China. And then it's up to them to make a deal. I know that they're going to have to save face and whatnot, but this trade war will hurt them way more than it will hurt us. We will experience some pain, no doubt, but they will experience it tenfold. So it behooves them to come to the table as well, and I think you'll see that. You just won't see it immediately for really, I think, egotistical reasons. When you deal with an authoritarian regime, that's juiced into the equation.
Well, they do like to buy some of our stuff as well, but we buy a lot more of theirs, Congressman. The U.S.-China Business Council finds that the 4th Congressional District, your district alone, exported $510 million worth of goods to China in the most recent year we have here, 2022. What could that mean for your local economy if those exports begin to slow?
The 4th Congressional District in Texas as a whole has a very dynamic economy, Joe, and if we were our own country, we'd be the 8th largest economy in the world. So 510 million, while that's a big number, you know what, our constituents are rooting for America and America's success. Unlike some other networks like CNN that was seemingly rooting for China, was an article I read yesterday.
Well, I wonder, sir, if more help will be required for their success if these tariffs indeed go into effect and last for some period of time. We obviously saw in the first Trump administration that farmers were offered subsidies. I wonder if you expect to see that again. Bloomberg has reported that Republican colleagues of yours are considering looking at potentially a tax credit for exporters. Would you be supportive of those kinds of measures? And is it worth it to spend more in order to raise revenue?
Yeah, I think that it's too early to talk about that or really seriously consider it, but we need to strategically decouple from China. Obviously, we're going to trade with them even when this is over, but the over-reliance that we've had on our #1 geopolitical competitor is alarming, and really COVID should have woken us up to that reality. And we're far too reliant on the Chinese right now, and this, I think, is going to act as a wonderful instrument to start that decoupling, and that's going to make us stronger. And we need to have more diverse trading partners.
We're watching Wall Street turn negative here. We just want to mention, after starting with a powerful rally this morning, a relief rally that seemed to be defying gravity considering the news that hasn't changed too much around tariffs. As the congressman mentioned, there was some hope for deals to emerge from these reciprocal tariffs, but hope appears to be fading on Wall Street. The S&P 500 turning negative. It's now up actually just by 4 points. The NASDAQ 100 is down by 24 points here as we make our way through the midday in trading. Congressman, are you hearing from constituents? Are they hitting the constituent line to ask about their retirement accounts?
There's a few folks, but it hasn't been really all that sizable yet, because again, if you're an investor in the markets, you know that what happens over days shouldn't really concern you. That's more of a weeks and months. So let's see what happens 2 months from now. Will the markets, I personally think that the markets will be much higher in a few months. And I'm maybe an eternal optimist, but I do think that this isn't going to last. This is just very, very short term.
Well, speaking of short term, as you look ahead 2 months, Congressman, I wonder what's going to happen in your chamber in just the next 2 days, because the Speaker would like to see a vote on the Senate-passed budget blueprint, which I know a number of your colleagues in the House have taken issue with. Is it your expectation that the votes are actually there for that to pass this week and for reconciliation to advance?
Well, that's a great question. We had a conference this morning, and it's going to be a challenge, to be very honest. I don't know if we're going to have the votes. I hope we do, because all this is doing is, this is, like you said, it's a blueprint to move the process forward. There will be then a final product. I personally would not vote for a final product that doesn't have significant cuts in spending, because we need to work toward balancing a budget moving forward, considering we have a $36 trillion debt and climbing. We need to take our fiscal responsibility seriously, not just on the campaign trail, but actually here in Washington, D.C. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. We'll see. But if we don't, then we're going to have to work together, and we have to extend the Trump tax cuts. We have to have a plan in place to go, and be a bit more disciplined fiscally. And so I hope that we can get there.
The president writing on Truth Social last night, the House must pass this budget resolution, and quickly, with the caps lock on. Congressman, will this actually get out of the Rules Committee to get to the floor? That might be the most important hurdle here, considering some of the Republicans who are concerned about the level of cuts in this blueprint.
Well, Joe, what we don't want to do is take it to the floor and fail. So we really have to count the votes. We have to do the whip counts before that happens. And again, I hope that it will. We're going to be having dinner with President Trump tonight, and we'll be talking about that. And if we have it, we'll go forward. But if not, there's always going to be a third way. It's not binary with it's either pass or fail. There are going to be third ways to get to that success, but we have to do it together. We have to have currently 217 votes to move it forward. So again, I'm praying that we can do it.
And finally, Congressman, we just have 2 minutes left here, but given your seats on the Intelligence and Armed Services Committees, I wonder what you make of the other news we got from the president yesterday about direct talks with Iran to take place on Saturday. What is your expectation or your hope that conversations will be able to yield?
I very rarely am going to oppose having a conversation with another nation state, because, President Trump tried that in his first term with North Korea. Really, nothing came of it. But I really applauded the effort, because why not talk? And as President Reagan said, trust but verify. So even if you came to some accord, you have to make sure that their actions match their rhetoric and the pages that they signed in any kind of an agreement or treaty. So I do applaud talking. But, Iran's on the run. They are not strong right now. Israel has decimated Hezbollah and decimated Hamas, and even President Trump with his latest strike on the Houthis in Iran losing Syria, they're on their heels. So we'll see. It could just be all rhetoric. It could be for show, but we'll find out.